Welcome into another episode of Profits Picks. We're going to go ahead and look at both of the games on the slate today. We'll go in the order that they go off. We'll look at a side, we'll look at a total, and we'll look at some player props. As many ways as we can to get paid coming off a good day yesterday. So let's keep it going. First game we're going to look at Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Miami Heat. Opening Bucks -5.5. Currently seeing -5 out there. Total opening 222.5, and we're seeing 223.5. So it's went up about a point. And I'll say, as far as the spread is concerned, it's tough. Miami is clearly like the better team. They're up 2-0. We'll see if Iguodala and Kelly Olynyk play. If they do not play, I mean, you have to like the Bucks a lot more. If they do play, probably more affects the total. Or if Iggy plays, he's going to be on Giannis more so than not. But the way that I look at this game, down 0-2, you're back against the wall. You're supposed to be the number one team in the league or in the East. Milwaukee has to come out with a sense of urgency. I know we didn't see that yesterday from Toronto, but I like Milwaukee here in this first half. If you're looking at Milwaukee, that's the only way I think you look at them. The first half -3, and other than that, I mean, these teams should be priced more evenly, unless those two guys are missing that I mentioned. I don't think the line should be 5 or more. So I think the value would have to be with Miami plus the 5 points. They've played them close already. Miami's 4-1 this year versus Milwaukee, so they probably have their number. I would take them to play it close on the full game, but if I like Milwaukee, I'm taking them on the first half. I won't argue with the first quarter either, but I would look more at the first half myself. And if I'm looking at this total, I agree with the line move going up about a point. I mean, it went over the last game, and Miami, I talked about it before, but the last series, Miami was able to score their points. It was up to the Pacers to be able to put up points at the end of the game, and they couldn't. Here, um, Milwaukee doesn't necessarily have that problem, or it's not as exaggerated as the Pacers. We talked about Milwaukee allowing the most 3 point attempts in the NBA and Miami being the second best 3 point shooting team. I think that's been a lot of what we've seen thus far. Looking at Milwaukee off of a loss, I know we expect them to bounce back, but off a loss, the last eight, the over 6-2, average total was 224.8, went over by 5.19 points per game. Looking at the Heat, off one day's rest, off of a win, total between 226 and 218. The over is 9-2. Average total 221.1, going over by 11.77 points per game. If Kelly Olynyk is in it, I like it a lot more for the total because he's a 3 point shooter, and they're gonna get a lot of 3 point looks versus Milwaukee Bucks team. But I think this Milwaukee team also comes out and just scores in bunches, especially if Iguodala is not out there to help defend. So I think this one takes goes for another over. That's the way that I would look. And if we're gonna look at player props, the only way, I mean, the most consistent guy thus far from for Miami has been Dragic. 20.5 points. I don't think that's asking too much. I think he's went over that every single game. And if Kelly's gone, uh, Iguodala's gone, I mean, it's already a big load on his shoulders. He's going to continue to do his thing. I don't think that's too much of an ask. So I like Dragic over the 20.5. Middleton, maybe we can look for his 3 point attempts um, once again, or he can look for his point total because he doesn't have to have a great game to score some points, or he doesn't have to be clutch at the end to score these points. So for Milwaukee, I would look to play on Middleton, but my favorite one will be Goran Dragic over the 20.5 points. And we'll move on to the next game, which is going to be game one. Houston Rockets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Opening Lakers -6.5. Currently seeing -6 out there. Total opening 226, and we're seeing 225.5. And I don't necessarily agree with the move on the side. The one thing I will say, Houston's coming off of Game 7, but it's not the same kind of series that Denver came off of. Denver was fighting. I mean, they couldn't lose the game. They were down 1-3, so every game was their last, and they put it all on the floor every single game. Houston, you maybe can say that about their last game, but not every single game. I think they're a little bit fresher than what we saw from Denver yesterday, and because of that, I would have to look towards Houston on early in this game. Um, they should be able to bring some of their momentum in with them in that first quarter and first half. The Lakers, they've been off, 5 days? You could see them come out rusty on offense. And I have a feeling that's what we're going to see in this game. So if I'm looking at Houston on this side, on the spread, I have to like them early, first quarter, first half. I think that, I mean, it's always a possibility for Houston to be tired. And if they are tired, if they are gassed, you're going to see it in the second half. So for the full game, I would like the Lakers. I do think that it's a huge mismatch for the Lakers. Houston, they don't even have a real center. OKC was not able to take advantage of that with Steven Adams. He's not that great of an offensive player. However, Anthony Davis is. And I know earlier this year we saw them play the Rockets and he didn't really take advantage the way he's supposed to. I think for that reason, he puts even more emphasis on it tonight. I think he lives and eats underneath that basket. Nobody on this Rockets team can check him. So I just think the matchup is too much. And looking at Houston, I hear some people say that Lakers are not good guarding or defending guards, but I mean, Lillard and CJ McCollum, is that not what we just saw? I thought that narrative was dead, so I'm not expecting them to go over crazy. I would honestly like Lillard and McCollum more than Westbrook and Harden, so I'm not too worried about that. I think the mismatch that Lakers have on Houston is a lot more significant. So we'll look at Houston, first quarter, first half. We'll look at Lakers on the full game minus the 6. The one thing I will say, though, like I said, that they can come out rusty against the spread off 3 or more days rest. For the Lakers, they're 1-4. So that's why I'm a little hesitant there. They will get Rondo back. He should also help keep the offense steady in this game. Or keep the Lakers offense steady. When we look at this total, I would have to agree with the slight move down. Houston, they've been playing good defense. I can't even knock them. Their team who never really wanted to play defense. D'Antoni never preaches defense, but they've been playing some defense now. And the Lakers, I talked about them, maybe can come out rusty on offense. I don't think the defense comes out rusty. That's where they hang their heads. And having 5 days off, having all this time to prepare for your potential opponents, I think that they're ready, especially defensively. I think they have a good game plan, and I think that they hold them down in this game. So I would look more towards the under. Looking at in the playoffs, game 1 to the playoffs, when a team has had 3 or more days rest and they're a favorite, total between 215 and 226. Or actually, I'm sorry. I'm mixing things up. Playoffs, game 1, rest greater than or equal to 3 days, and they're a favorite. The under is 13-3. So I like that. That trend backs me up. It also says that the favorite is 10-5 against the spread in that same scenario. So those are the 2 ways that I tend to look in this game. I would look towards. I mean, if you like Houston, you like them first quarter, first half, but I would probably lean more towards Lakers on the full game. And on the total, I have to like the under. Houston, I mean, they've been more of an under team all year. As much threes as they shoot, they have such high totals. In the playoffs, the defense is just a lot more intense. And I just think that's what we get here tonight. So that's the way I'm looking. If we're going to look at player props, for this Houston side, I would likely look, I didn't pull this number. So my favorite prop will come from the Lakers side. But if I'm going to look at the Houston side, I want to look at assist for Russell Westbrook I'm seeing it at 5.5. I think that's very doable. Russell Westbrook is going to be doing a lot of driving. He not always has too much to worry about, but tonight he's going to have some guys that are willing to meet him at the rim. So he should be looking to drive and kick. I mean, it's the same thing he always does, but a little bit more than usual. I don't think he'll be looking to finish as much. So over 5.5 assists for Russell Westbrook seems like a good idea. And if we're looking at the Lakers side, I told you who the mismatch is. Anthony Davis, his point total was sitting at 30.5. That's a solid one. But what I like the most, I like Anthony Davis rebounds. The two times he played him, he had more than 12. He had 12 or more rebounds. His rebound total sitting at 11.5. Very doable. We saw Steven Adams rack him up a couple times. I think that Anthony Davis will probably play the center position at some point throughout this game, probably a good portion of this game because of how small the Rockets go. So even more opportunity for him to grab those rebounds. And that's the way that I look there. So we have, I would like the Lakers on the full game. If you like Houston, take them first quarter, first half. We will look at the under, the 225.5. We'll look at Russell Westbrook over 5.5 assists. And we will look at Anthony Davis over 11.5 rebounds. Thank you for rocking with me on another episode of Profits Picks. Best of luck if you tail. Good luck on all of your action. Last show of the week. We'll be back on Monday. Let's hope to keep the profits rolling. And hope you guys have an excellent weekend.